up, guys? Live from Mexico. It's Monday night.
Monday.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, how you doing, Dewey?
I'm doing, man. It's a bit of a trip. All of this.
Yeah, you were telling us you're a little under the weather. Are you drinking too much of the local alcoholic
Don't
beverages?
drink the water.
Well, I tried the local alcoholic beverage, and I ate a lot of food, so it could have been any number of things that it got me.
You need to train for stuff like this, like me. I can't ride the bike down there, but I can eat the food.
Well, the problem is you don't always know if the food or things like that are gonna get you, even when it's good food. That's just the nature of being in foreign places.
Yeah. And look at that. Windroad Therapy's here saying
Hey,
hi
Des.
to everybody. Hey,
Hello.
Des. And we've got Carson in the side chat, the adventurous rider. Look at that. And look, even Dewey Rides is in the side chat. Hi, Dewey.
Hey.
Hey, Motoramblings. Motoramblings is in the side chat. What's up, buddy?
Hey, I know that guy. Yeah.
Okay. So Des says she's
where are
listening.
you right now? What locale are you? How far south?
How far south am I? I am currently about an hour and a half from Mexico City.
Okay.
So, that's a little past halfway, I think, or more than halfway south in Mexico.
Right. Yeah, that's what I thought when I saw the mapping and everything. I'm actually tracking you. I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but I'm tracking you.
Yeah, it hasn't moved in a while. So.
No, it hasn't, unfortunately. What's up, Ty?
Why is that? Why is your tracking point not moving?
Let's talk.
My motorcycle was stolen out of a hotel parking lot, a little town about half an hour from where I'm at now.
Was this the Hotel California?
No, it was not the Hotel California.
How
long ago was that now? It's been, what, a week?
Not quite. I think it happened last Tuesday. So close to a week, but.
Okay.
Now that's a pretty significant shot to take, isn't it?
Yeah, it's tricky.
Because let's remind everybody watching that Dewey went through that entire bike, and I forget if it's a DRZ, whatever, but he went through the entire bike, every nut and bolt, and he told me he replaced all the Phillips and JIS and flathead screws with Allen bolts. So that's a lot of work.
Yep.
And to have that yanked out from under you, geez.
Not to mention all the upgrades, the lights, the suspension, and of course we know the story that you had to get a new stator.
Yep. Yeah. No, I mean, it's a shot. I think for the first few days I was holding out more hope that it would be found. And I think the longer it's gone on, the less hope it is. And now it's more trying to figure out the logistics of getting me and the stuff that I have back to the States.
Talk about that a little bit. One, how the bike was stolen, because you were actually in a pretty secure spot. And two, what you did not have on the bike that you did not lose. Because most people think the bike got stolen. They think everything went with it.
Luckily, I was at a hotel for the night, so I had taken stuff off of the bike with all my clothing, all my electronics, all that stuff. That goes into the hotel with me. Some camping gear and some tools and things were still on the bike. I mistakenly thought that where I was at was more secure than it was. And, that's one of those, in my head, I'll be kicking myself at the things that I should have asked, should have looked for, should have noticed. It's hard, when you're in a foreign country. One, there's the language barrier for me. I do not speak good Spanish. And just culturally and things that you would look for in a hotel are different, because the hotels are different. So this one had a pull-in courtyard with what looked like a gated front. So there was no way that anybody could get in. And I don't know if the gate was left open or if when a car came out, it opened, but somebody slipped in and pushed the bike out the front.
Wow. See, I think I would look at any hotel in any country the same way I look at one in like Newark, New Jersey, where I stayed many years ago. And I was talking to the guy running the guard shack, and I was like, so I see the spiky gate and the fence and the barbed wire and all that. So it's pretty secure in here. My car will be fine. He's like, yeah, we still lose 5 to 10 a week.
Yeah, the
Wow.
problem is, like I said, is that I don't have the language skills to really have those interactions. It's ask if they have parking, ask if it's secure at home.
Now, when you get another bike and you continue on your journey, because I know you will, what are you going to do different?
I am going to have more locking ability on it, whether it's a disc lock with an alarm to make noise or chain of some sort to put through the wheels, something like that.
Okay.
I mean, the truth is all that stuff, if somebody wants it, they're going to get it if they have enough time. The trick is you want to, hopefully slow them down and
Scare them away, maybe?
and scare them away.
Pete just came back or just crossed back into the U.S. from Canada, and he's saying, don't go to Mexico.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't agree with that, right? I mean, my bike could have gotten stolen from Newark or Miami, Seattle,
Anywhere here.
or, any of those places.
Mm-hmm.
And the reality is that I've been blown away by the people here and all the help that I've received, all the stuff that's happened. Not even, and this even before my bike got stolen, when the bike got stolen, that kind of came up to another level of them helping me. But everywhere I've gone, the people have been just absolutely incredible and welcoming to me. The motorcycle community here in Mexico is a really incredible group.
Well, that was going to be my next thought was, did you have any regrets at all, even after the bike's stolen? Because I've seen the pictures, I've seen the post, and even since the bike's been stolen, it looks like you're having a good time with the folks that you're around.
Yeah,
So,
no, I have no regrets other than I wish I had more security on my bike, and I would have, maybe parked at a different hotel that had a more secure parking lot.
okay. But
I mean,
again,
ways,
how do you know?
I met people that I wouldn't have met and gotten to interact with them in a way that I wouldn't have met if it hadn't happened too.
Yeah, I've noticed in all the pictures you've posted since you left the country, you look just so happy. I mean, yeah, your beard's a little grayer, but the smile on your face is so genuine and huge that it's great to see.
Yeah, I've had a great time, and I think a good part of this trip for me was, I want to ride the motorcycle to the cool, beautiful places, but I wanted to, interact with people and interact with different cultures and meet people. And in that regard, I have gotten it, more than I could have ever imagined. And I've, being here for, close to a week now, I've made friends, and almost every day somebody pops around on a motorcycle and says, let's go check this thing out, pop on. And they've given me a little loaner motorcycle, some of the guys here in one of the motorcycle clubs. And so
I think that's so cool.
Around if I need to, I can run errands and things like that. And I can go on rides with these guys and go see stuff.
And that's what, like John said, that is so cool. And recently you posted some pictures where you did go on this loaner bike, and it looked like you went to some amazing places with these guys while you're waiting.
Yeah, and I mean, all that stuff is within half an hour of where I'm at, and we just keep going to different places, and even stuff that I didn't post. Yesterday morning we went to the Sunday farmers market and walked around and had a bunch of special food that they only do on Sundays, where they they bury a lamb wrapped in cactus for like 3 days underground, and let it just marinate in its own juices and cook it slowly. And got tacos from that and all that. It was an absolutely great time. That's the hard part. I try to always see the glass half full on things, and that's really my view on everything that's happened. Is at the end of the day, I'm frustrated and I'm out a bunch of money, but it's nothing more than that. And I started this trip to have an adventure, and I have gotten that more than I could have ever imagined.
You're having more adventure
Yeah,
than
you
you
have.
thought you would.
How
Yes.
long would you have stayed where you're at if this hadn't happened?
I was planning to leave kind of during the day. There was the place that I was at, just a couple miles from it. There was a park with some native ruins there that are kind of unique to Mexico. And so I was going to go see those. That's what I got up in the morning, was to go early before it got too hot so I could walk around and do that. And then I was going to ride to some other, another area that day. So I wasn't in the city that I'm in now. When my bike got stolen, I sent some messages to some of the contacts that I'd had in Mexico that I've stayed with, and we've exchanged phone numbers, and they always said, if anything happens, let us know. So something happened, so I let them know, and
Right, yeah.
and they started putting all of this into motion. And one of the guys contacted a group that helps traveling motorcyclists. Basically, it's a WhatsApp group that's pretty much what they do. And he sent it out there and said, a friend of mine from the U.S. who doesn't speak Spanish, by the way, is had his bike stolen. Is anyone in the area that might be able to help him? And within a few minutes, I got several messages on my phone, and one of them was a gentleman who's a lawyer, and he popped on his motorcycle and rode out right then. He dropped whatever he was doing and came and spent the entire day with me going through all of the paperwork that you have to do.
That's
to
awesome.
try to get out of customs, because I signed documents when I entered Mexico that says I will leave the country with this motorcycle.
Mm.
And because I didn't have to pay all the import taxes and sales taxes and stuff because the bike's leaving with me, right? I signed all that paperwork.
Right.
So I had to get make sure I had all of the stuff. And it's not just the police report. You have to have a copy of the police report. And unlike here, just filing a police report doesn't really do anything. You have to go to the public minister, which is like the prosecution or the DA, type of people. And then you also have to file a formal complaint with them that's separate from the police report. So, I never would have found the place. So, the people, all sorts of people who spoke some English were trying to help me and trying to tell me where to go. But, once this guy showed up, he really helped the process, because he knew the process. He knew what needed to be done. He knew how to talk to people to get stuff done. When we first showed up at the police station, and he said, I speak enough English between it and Google, I can translate exactly what he is saying for this. And initially the public minister said, I think it's probably best that we have him contact the U.S. consulate, and maybe in 2 or 3 days they'll send a translator and somebody to help with the paperwork from the U.S. consulate. He kind of said, no, let's figure out a better way to do this, get it done.
Okay.
So you have to go through all that mistake.
Well, the reason I started with that question was mainly, what would you have missed by doing? We see that, John. Yep, very cool. What would you have missed by leaving when you planned on it versus the fact that you've had to stay for a week? All these little day trips.
Yeah, I would have missed all the stuff I did on the day trips. I would have missed all the people that I've met, the friends. I've had just some of the most genuine fun times sitting around laughing. Even with the language barrier, you make it work, and it's
okay.
And this is the stuff that I want to see, because I'm basically going with people doing what they would do, and I'm getting, I think I've gotten a lot more feel of what day-to-day life for somebody living here is that I wouldn't have gotten if I just did the couple of tourist things and moved on.
Mm-hmm. And so the making lemonade out of the the rotten lemons there.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing else to do with it, right? I mean, once the bike was gone, then it was just try to figure out what the best way forward is.
Mhm.
So is the plan to come back in the States, buy another bike, and then continue the trip?
Unless miraculously the bike is found and in working condition.
Have you asked the cartel?
I do not have any contacts to
Do you
know.
do you have a time frame of when you say, okay, it's gone, I'm going back to the U.S. to get a bike?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to happen pretty soon. I think that the longer it goes on, I think the lower my chances get. But
Okay. Now, what are you going to do as far as that goes? You're going to fly back over near your parents?
yeah, I talked to the Oregon DMV, and I talked to some people who have crossed a lot of borders with motorcycles in all sorts of various situations. And the general consensus is you can do it other ways, but having paperwork in your name from your home state that matches everything else is going to make everything down the road easier.
Yeah.
Have you thought about just stealing somebody else's bike and going on a ride? No.
I thought the first question I put out to people was, what does it take for me to buy a motorcycle? I'm not very far from Mexico City, right? I could go buy a bike. But then I found out that you can't. You have to have a Mexican residency to buy a motorcycle, at least through all the proper channels, Then there was some talk with one of the guys here who said he would, if I bought a bike, he'd put it in his name and we'd get paperwork saying that I had, all rights to it and was okay crossing borders with it. But that's one more piece of paperwork that has a chance for somebody to border to say, nope, I'm not letting this through. It's not done quite the way we want it. And then what do I do?
How about changing your name to El Dewey El Rido and then becoming a Mexican citizen, buying a bike, and continuing the ride?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just not, we've run through a lot of scenarios and they're just, I think it's just going to be fastest and to go back home and where I know the process, down here is I'm reliant on everybody else because I don't speak the language well enough to do a transaction or the paperwork needed. So I have to rely on other people and hope they do it right. And if I'm back in the States, then I can do it myself.
What are you planning on getting? Are you going to get a brand new DR? Are you going to try to find a used bike that's already kitted out?
No idea yet. Probably a used bike. I don't really want to spend the money of buying a new motorcycle and that financial hit and having to buy all new stuff again.
Right.
So I think a used motorcycle makes the most sense. I've just got to figure out which one's going to be and what I want.
Harley Pan America. Get a Harley Pan America.
I think he said he wanted to save money.
Yeah, I want to save money and I want to get to the end.
I want to say, hey, it'll get to the end. I want to save his back because, Harleys can't lean far enough for him to wreck his back trying to lift it.
There's always a way, man. Me picking up a Harley Pan America is
no. Hey, I hurt my back sleeping the wrong way. So I feel you on that.
Yeah. Try being my age, guys.
Yep. Hey, that's all the time we have for Motoramblings. Goodbye.
You had to do it once, huh?
I did. Sorry, Dewey. So, Patrick, how you been?
Just fine, thanks.
I got to do it at least twice. There, I'm done. Mrs. Road Reality wants to know if you've seen any of the Mayan motorcycle riders down there. The Mayan Motorcycle Club from TV.
Mayan Motorcycle Club? I have not. There's a gazillion motorcycle clubs down here. So almost everybody wears a vest of some sort for whatever their local community is.
Yeah.
I'm looking at some of the comments here, and the Adventurous Rider, he had a good one. Will you go back the same exact way you already went?
No. If and I don't know how the timing's going to work, because with this, and by the time I get back and do everything, I'm well behind the time to get to South America in the weather window, unless I really hurry. So I would basically need to super slab it at least back to where I'm at,
Okay.
down here. It wouldn't be the small roads. I would
Well,
be.
and then that kind of goes into what Pete's comment, the next one, John, is he talked to 3 Brazilians and a guy from Argentina. They said, stick to the main roads.
Well, there's main roads and there's main roads, right? The what we think of as freeway stuff is all toll roads in Mexico.
Ah,
Yeah, I
okay.
saw that on $1 Million Bogans videos.
So there's other main routes that are free, but a lot of them are what we think of as a 2-lane road.
Okay.
Even
But
though
it's
there's
still
a
a,
main
still
road
a main
between
road.
places. Yeah. The thing I always do is I always ask the people, because the people where you're at are going to know the most. You ask them if a route's safe. You ask them if the road's okay, things like that, or try to get as much conditions information as you can from people. Aside from there, and only once we had one guy that we asked about a route, and he said, no, don't take that, it's too dangerous, go around this way. So
I mean,
that's
that's good that it was only once. All right, backtracking. Adventure Tomek was with you.
Yep.
How long was he with you on the trip?
I think total about 3 weeks.
Nice.
Yeah.
And so how did that go? I mean, I noticed you guys are doing your own YouTube thing, but he seemed to have a better grasp of the language than you do.
Yes, his Spanish was significantly better than mine.
Okay. And
Is that because he
part
lives
of
in
that is
Colorado?
he speaks Polish because his family's Polish.
okay.
And so, one, I think speaking 2 languages makes picking stuff up a lot easier. But also, the way that they phrase things in the verb conjugation and stuff with those European languages is much closer to Spanish.
Okay.
So it was a lot easier for him to pick that up. It was kind of a matter of just adding words and trying to memorize words and what they mean for him, because he understood the structure.
Okay. And so it looked like you two had an absolute blast. I mean,
We did.
Couple of
we had
mishaps.
some we had some hard times. I had a couple of tough days. Tomek had a tough day.
Let's pause there. The only hard times I've seen is him picking up your bike for you.
I picked mine up plenty of times on that. You got at the end after my back was hurt, where we were just trying to get back. That's the bit that Tomek's video shows.
Well, you didn't film yours, so it didn't happen. Obviously.
I filmed it. The movie comes out Friday, man.
Comes out Friday. Okay.
Yeah. I'm just behind on it.
I should just remove myself from the stream because Patrick's got all the good questions.
Yeah, I mean, that was tough. Tomek had a tough day in La Paz. He got in basically a 24-hour period, he got a really bad sunburn, got stung by a stingray, and then crashed into a pickup truck.
Oh, no. See, I haven't seen that on his videos yet.
Wait a minute. What?
It hasn't come out yet. He put it up on the Instagram, so I'm not letting anything out that he hasn't, made public. But yeah, he got into an accident with a truck.
Okay.
And so we got to find out what the Mexican insurance policy was and how that worked and what that process
was. Oh man.
Too.
Wow.
And it's funny because I swear he hit the absolute nicest man. I felt so bad. This guy was so nice. And he was big. He was like 6'4", 6'5", a big guy. And he's apologizing to Tomek, who ran into him.
Yeah. For a moment there, you guys must have been like, "Uh-oh."
Yeah. It was kind of surreal because I watched it all happen.
Gotta ask, on film?
No.
It didn't happen.
Like most things, we were riding 4 blocks. We had gone to get some food, and we were just riding back the 4 blocks to the hotel. and of course, Tomek's even in a t-shirt, he wasn't geared up because it was only 4 blocks, right?
Oh, no kidding.
And yeah, literally pulling into the driveway, it's a bunch of one-way streets there, and so he had to make a left and then he had to make a right and then a left into the driveway of the hotel.
Okay.
And he didn't think about the fact that it was 2 lanes.
So he turned right.
He turned right into the first lane and then went to turn into the hotel parking lot, and there was a truck right there, and he was right into it. He did more damage to the truck than it did to his bike.
That's something.
Yeah, the crash bars and stuff, and he managed to. He got about every panel on this poor guy's truck.
Oh, he just sideswiped it, huh?
He initially hit the front fender, then he basically bounced into the door of the truck, because it's a truck. There's only the 2 doors. His head must have hit, and it broke the passenger side window. Then it got the whole bed of the truck on his way down. With
oh my goodness!
Handlebars. So
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that brings up Carson's question from earlier about the insurance companies. Is your insurance company going to help you with your bike, or is the Mexican insurance that you bought going to help?
I think maybe some things with it, but not in whole.
So the coverage limits aren't that high?
It's not that. It's that theft insurance is incredibly expensive in Mexico for obvious reasons. So I didn't get theft insurance, but I have travel insurance with trip interruption and all of this stuff that I think is going to cover chunks of it.
But not replacing the bike.
But not replacing the bike. Yeah, it might cover some of the gear that's gone missing if I can prove what's gone missing, and probably cover the hotels for the last week and things like that.
Well, hopefully most of your gear was visible in your videos, so you can prove that you had it.
Well, not what's inside of the bag.
Right.
You can see the bags, but not inside of them.
See, you should have done a video. Hey, I'm packing up my bike to go. This is all the stuff I'm taking with me.
Right, but then he has to do a video to show, I don't have my tent. It's hidden behind him.
Yeah. Here's my invisible tent now. It's like when Amazon says, send us a picture of the package that you didn't receive. Here you go.
See, Dewey, you were talking earlier about eating the lamb that had been soaked in the leaves and buried underground for 3 days, and now you're sick. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but I had a lot of other food too, so it could have been any number of things. A lot of times I think that maybe something I drank is probably a more likely candidate, because all that stuff, that's cooked, you cook it, so it's going to kill a lot of things.
Should be fine, yeah.
It might have been something with, a little bit of ice and something that was bad ice or something like that. That's the more common thing.
The water thing.
That damn dirty ice gets you every time.
Well, I want to go back to kind of the positive a little bit, if you don't mind,
Absolutely.
John.
Oh, sorry.
I guess you minded, huh?
No, go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Oh, that John does.
Right. You've run into a ton of different people. You've met a bunch of different people. You've become friends with a bunch of these different people. I think when we talked before, when you and I did the live stream, sorry, John, and one of my biggest fears was going into a foreign country, not knowing the language, and running into people that didn't like you because you are American. But it sounds like it's just the opposite.
No, I have never. I will say that I have never felt unsafe, at least knowingly. I understand where I'm at, and I know that there's an undercurrent of some of that stuff everywhere, but I'm not looking for it. I'm not trying to. I'm trying to just meet people, and what it is being a solo traveler on a motorcycle. Other motorcyclists notice. They notice the foreign plate. They notice all the gear, and they always want to find out where I'm going, what I'm doing, and then when they find out where I'm going, and how far, then they're always interested in making sure that I have contact information if I need any help, because I think they all understand the struggles here of
That's awesome.
stuff done sometimes.
Yeah, that's been the most surprising part of your reports is just how friendly everybody is and trying to help you along your way.
Yep. Yeah, it's been amazing. You know, I've been welcomed into homes. I've had people ride with me for certain sections to show me all the stuff that's worth seeing. You know, it's been great.
And that, to me, that's like the best part of this whole thing is that the motorcycle community, we've always known that here it's, you know, it's been great, but knowing that it's, you know, crossing the borders, just, it's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. And down here, I would almost say, at least from what I've received from it, it is what we're used to in the US, you know, to another level.
Mm-hmm.
Just everybody has been absolutely amazing in this whole process. Even before the bike got stolen, people were absolutely amazing.
Yeah. And that's kind of what I was talking about earlier, was that you and I were going to talk a little bit about the bike being stolen, and then we were going to talk about all the good from the time you actually left this country and got into Mexico. It sounds like it's just been amazing.
Yeah, it has been. And it's been, you know, a series of events that have all gotten me to where I'm at too. You know, if my bike hadn't broken down and Tomek's bike hadn't broken down and we were on our original timeline, we probably never would have met the guys in La Paz that we met, who were from Guadalajara, and I stayed with them in Guadalajara. And we wouldn't have met the guy who made all the phone calls when my bike got stolen and who I stayed with in Durango. You know, if I had been on the timeline, I mean, I think I would have met people, but I think, you know, I met the people I needed to meet.
Mm-hmm.
The timeline worked out, even when it's hard. And I think that where I'm at now, it's the same. I think that for some reason, this is where I need to be right now, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why, but
it's a great attitude.
You know, there's a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Getting a bike stolen is a big thing, but there's a lot of big things that could have happened that weren't that, and you know, this could be the reason why I need to be here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you never know. This delay could be stopping you from something even worse happening.
Right. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You know, maybe there's gonna be a semi truck in the road somewhere, you know, or something. Right.
It's that whole butterfly flaps its wings in China, and you know, we get a rainstorm in Florida sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Carson's got a question about the flavor. He said that people go down there and the flavor's better.
The food is amazing. It is absolutely amazing. And the thing that even more, I think the food, I mean, you know, they like their salsas hot and things like that, probably hotter than they put in the US stuff because they're catering to different clients. What I've been blown away with is the fruits and all of that stuff, because nothing has high fructose corn syrup in it. Nothing is, you know, box ripened. Everything's tree ripened, then it goes to a fruit stand, and then you buy it. All the drinks and everything are real sugar. Everywhere you go is real sugar. That makes a big difference in the flavor of everything.
That's awesome.
It is. You know, I can't eat fruit, but watching you guys on your two different videos, stopping at the fruit stands and getting this stuff, I'm like drooling. I'm like, man, that looks so good.
Yeah, it's great, and it's fun interactions too, because you know those are not the people who interact with tourists all day long. You know, some people in hotels and stuff are used to tourists, and so it's for them. It's, you know, for somebody on a little fruit stand on the side of the road, you know, a couple of these massive motorcycles pulling up and two white guys trying to stumble through their Spanish with them. You know, it's probably the most exciting thing that's happened in months at the fruit stand.
Yeah, and your adventures are their adventures for a few minutes.
Yep.
Yeah, you were talking about the kids just being so enthralled with talking to you and Tomek and you, and that just seems so fun to me.
Yeah, it is. That was going to be, you know, that was coming up. That was one of the things that I planned to do, was to stop and take language courses, so I can
Right. Immersion therapy.
the immersion there, and so that would have, I think, gone a long way to being able to have the interactions that were more than just the surface. I could tell them where I'm going and where I'm from and basics, but I couldn't have any more interaction than that.
Okay.
Have you been using Google Translate on your phone to help out a lot?
Yes.
And how accurate is that?
It works to get things talked about, even if it's not accurate, they get an idea of what I'm saying. They do the same back to me and I get an idea of what they're saying. It might miss a few words here and there, scrambled up, but you got to make sense of it.
Nice.
Very cool.
So
I try not to lead in with that. I don't like to go right up to somebody and shove the phone in their face, and I try to speak to them and as best I can, and then use the phone after that, after I've shown that I'm trying.
Yeah. No hable español. Google.
Yeah. So are you picking up the language as you go?
I'm slowly, certainly not like Tomek was.
Well, Tomek, as we have discussed, is kind of a freak of nature anyway. So, goodness, what is the prettiest thing you've seen down there?
It's pretty hard to top Copper Canyon. That is pretty incredible.
And that's a
Those
big
are the
canyon,
most recent
right?
pictures.
Yeah, no, it's bigger. It's bigger than the Grand Canyon. It's deeper than the Grand Canyon, and the whole canyon system covers a lot more area. So it is massive. It's pretty cool to see.
It also looked green.
Yeah, it had a fair bit of green because you're at, because it's such a huge canyon. The top of it's at 9,000 feet. So
That's awesome.
you get more green, and then it goes down to almost sea level. It's like 8,200 feet or something from the top to the bottom. It's a deep canyon.
Yeah, I was watching your video where you were going, you were riding uphill pretty far. How did the bike handle the elevation?
As long as I was riding it and it was warmed up, fine. That morning it didn't want to start it was be a combination of, I think, the altitude and the cold. It was a little tough to start, so I kind of had to stay in the throttle a little bit to keep it running until it warmed up. Once it warmed up, it was fine though.
So when you get another bike, will it still be carbureted?
Unsure. I will see. I will see what's available and what's going to fit my needs.
Wow. And so, overall rating of the trip so far?
Probably a 10 or an 11. It's like I said, there's the one thing hanging over it, but everything else has been just amazing. I would highly recommend people spend some time traveling in other places, especially slowly and in like this where you get more chance. It's one thing to go do a week-long trip where you just blast every day and try to see as much as you can. It's another to go slow and to interact with people. That's been hugely rewarding.
How long before your bike was stolen did Tomek head home?
He's in the chat. Tomek, when did you head home? I think it's been 3 or 4 weeks since he headed back.
I was going to say, if it was real close, is Tomek going to come out with a new video where he's got a DRZ?
So you had a couple of weeks of traveling by yourself between Tomek leaving and the bike getting stolen.
Yeah, probably closer to a month.
Okay, so I guess my thought process is never been on such a long distance trip alone like that. Was there a significant difference that first day you got on the bike without Tomek and we're in this foreign country in places you'd never been?
There was a little bit, I think it was in the back of my mind, but what do you figure out is that you're never alone here. You have to try to find some time for yourself.
Right.
You make too many friends.
Yeah. Everybody's trying to help. Everybody wants to hear your story. Everybody wants to interact. So it's sometimes you need to just lock the hotel room and, have some time to yourself. And especially, when you're doing it day after day after day, it's almost like sensory overload because it never ends. It's every day is something new. There's no monotony in your schedule. And that, like I said, I think I've a couple of times I've said, I just need to take some time. Even if it's a couple hours and I'm going to go a shorter day, I just need to relax here and not do much.
Speaking of which, Carson's got another question.
I was taking a lot of breaks. I would find places that I liked to stay. I stayed in Guadalajara almost a week. I didn't expect that, but it worked out the way it would do. There were some other places where I just said I need a couple days. I try really not to ride with more than 4 or 5 days in a row before I take a day off. I think it becomes physically hard, it's mentally hard, and that's when stuff happens when you're worn out and tired. So the goal is not to get tired. It's to, stop when I need to stop.
So along those lines,
say, thank you, Zan.
Yeah. So along those lines, how has the editing been? Because when you were in the States, you would go on a trip, come back, correlate the footage, cut it up into videos, and you had your whole workstation set up, and now you're on the road. So tell me a little bit about that.
It's the hardest part is finding the time and not getting distracted. Like my videos, can be 4 to 6 hours to edit from start to finish. And that's a big time commitment to try to find. And I've just, I've done it and I just make time when I need to. But yeah, it's hard because it's hard to just sit and edit when there's so much stuff out just around you too, but I've got to make time for it.
Well, and the whole trip was to experience the traveling, not sit in the room editing.
Right. Yep. Yeah.
Well, we'll be patient then if we have to.
Yeah, I mean that's why the videos are coming out at the pace. I've been able to keep it the one video a week, which I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to even do that. So the other hard part is you can't record everything, and trying to figure out when an interaction is okay to record and when it's not. A lot of the time, I don't like to record people, especially when they're, sitting around having lunch or something like that, because I want to enjoy that conversation. I don't want to be distracted by the camera. So there's just a ton of stuff that isn't recorded.
That's so funny. I just did a video that won't be released forever where I talk about that very thing is don't ruin what you're trying to do because you want to record it. Record when you feel like it, but don't record something to mess up the actual enjoyment of the interaction.
Yeah. Yep. And especially with people interaction, I don't like to just go, hey, how are you doing? This is what I'm doing. Let me pull out my camera and record this.
Yeah, here's my camera. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's probably very smart because I think you're going to enjoy yourself more by doing that rather than worrying about filming, if it's okay to film. If you just say, screw it, I'm just going to enjoy the day and leave the camera on the bike. Other than the fact that you didn't record Tomek.
Yeah, that was my big mess up. I figured how much trouble can the guy get in 4 blocks?
Apparently a lot.
Yeah, 4 blocks is something you record.
Yeah.
It's a minute and a half.
Right. John's got this down to the minute. He knows.
Oh, yeah. Dude, I time on the roads I know, and if I look it up on Google Maps, I can say, hey, it's an 8-mile road. It's going to take me 12 minutes to record it. I'll just record the whole thing. But I get what Dewey's trying to say, but sometimes you got $1 million boat in it and just walk up and be like, hey, talk to me real quick.
Yeah.
I'm just not that person. I mean, that's the truth of it is I'm not,
Yeah.
I'm taking this trip for me, not to make a YouTube video.
Right. And that's where
gets recorded, but I'm not going to change things.
You're
that I
wrong.
want to see.
You're wrong, Dewey. You got to be more like me and just record it all and figure it out later. and just
Well,
make
actually,
people
now that you
uncomfortable.
you say that, John, but I don't see a lot of videos where you're interacting with a lot of other people.
Yeah,
Because I
because
don't like a lot of people. I really
So
don't.
Yeah,
Actually,
I
you know,
love
I went
people.
Saturday. I went for a ride with Anthony C. Roberson, who's got a channel here on YouTube, and I literally walked in. I don't have my Sony on me, but I walked in and I was like, "Here's my camera. Let's talk."
yeah, I mean, but that's another YouTuber. They're expecting it, you know. Like I film stuff
I
for
know.
Tomac, certainly, but
I
because
have
you
a
know,
hard enough time doing it just around here. I can't imagine in a foreign country just sticking the camera up.
Yeah. See, I don't leave the country, but I do. I do my day rides and stuff, and when I go into like a dealership to buy a part, I'll record it. But a lot of times, I'll ask. I always ask before I record somebody, and 9 times out of 10, they're like, "No, I don't want to be on camera." I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
"All right, I can work around that," and I turn the camera sideways, so I get their voice, but not their picture.
Mm-hmm. You know, and I'll admit it's great video when you do record other people and your interactions. I mean, I would love to see some of the interactions that you have down there with the locals, but I also get it that it's difficult. One, difficult for me to do it, and difficult for them to allow it. So,
yeah, and to not, and you know, I think once the camera comes out, the interactions are less genuine as
yeah,
well.
Absolutely.
yeah, yeah.
I'm a
Like you said,
completely different person off camera. Everybody knows that.
I think he's talking about the other people who aren't on camera 100% of the time, like you are.
Yeah, well, even that's down to like 60% now.
Well, well, Paul, I was on a DR650. I can only show off so much speed.
That thing tops out at like 55 with a tailwind, right?
Yeah, the way it was geared, about 65 was about it.
And you were fully loaded, so yeah, that had to be tough. Only reason I get rid of my DR650 and went to the V-Strom was because anytime I tried to get on the highway, it was like, okay, guys, I'll see you in an hour.
Yeah, it was not a fast motorcycle. There's no point in disclaimer that this happened in Mexico because I'm going to go, you know, I'm lucky to break the speed limit on the fast roads.
None of you ever spent time on a 50cc scooter then, apparently.
Oh, I did when I was 5.
Yeah, I did when I was like 25. I put 5,000 miles on one in 1 year. I rode
Wow.
anywhere from 113 down to 8 degrees one night.
It's not a bad motorcycle. It's just a groovy little motorbike.
Yep.
No, it wasn't even that. But it was one of those things where I went through one tank of gas one day. It was 4 hours, 2 hours there and 2 hours back, just 30 mile an hour, all the way.
Yep. So you're still not 100% sure when you're going to make that decision. I wouldn't make it right now because you're kind of feeling under the weather, but you're going to make that decision on whether to come back and get a bike within the next couple of days, I would imagine.
Yeah, sometime here soon I'm going to have to. I'm going to talk to some people here and, you know, try to get an honest opinion of what the odds are and if they're and how far down they are, you know, of it ever being found. It's hard to maybe get a real accurate thing because I think people want to help so much they want to hold out hope. So I need to gauge what the reality of the situation is.
Right.
Yeah, did you have any leads on if the bike was going to be found from any of your contacts?
We thought we did, but it turned out to be nothing. That was one early on.
That's a bummer.
We haven't really, nobody's heard anything.
Going back to like the whole packing and planning, I know you did a lot of planning before you left. Now that you're into it for so long, what are some of the things you wish you did different as far as planning, packing, not packing?
I have too much stuff. I still do. I have way too much weight and it's up high. I haven't figured out how to get the heavy objects down low though. That's the hard part. It's the electronics that you don't want to put in the soft-sided side bags because, you know, the chance they can get damaged, so they're in the hard case. But that's up high, so it's I would like to find a way to get less weight up there.
And you don't
Would you
want
put-
hard panniers because that's a way to snap your leg.
Right.
I was going to ask if you'd put hard bags on the sides of the next one.
No, but the next one, if I buy used, may come with them.
Yeah.
To me, that's such a dangerous thing, like the sand you get caught up in and stuff. You know,
No, I'm absolutely glad I have the soft bags on for for that stuff. But without Tomac here too, I have to be a little choosy on unpaved things and what I try because I'm on my own. So
right. And I guess that is an advantage if you did get like one of those big set of the hard panniers. If you don't snap your leg, the bike doesn't fall over as far.
yeah, I mean, I think it would be one of those. If I got like a bigger adventure bike with hard panniers, I would probably be doing almost exclusively paved riding at that point. I don't think I would be venturing too much off-road just because my abilities and my ability to get to self-rescue myself isn't there.
So
Would you?
I have a question then. How is it that you break a leg on an ADV bike if you dump it?
Because
With
your
hard
leg, with hard bags, your foot hits the ground and is pulled back because you're going forward, and there's nothing to give
Gotcha.
except
it
for your
gets
knee
caught
or your
underneath-
shin bone.
So it gets caught underneath the bike.
And it's not even when it's falling. You can snap your leg
Yeah.
without the bike actually falling over.
Yeah.
Imagine you stomp your foot and your saddlebag catches your leg because your foot's stuck on the ground. That's what's going to snap your leg.
Okay, so that's how $1 Million Bogan got away with dumping his bike so many times because his feet were much far forward.
Well, I mean, some people get away with it for a long time. It's one of those things that just is the chances of it happening and being hurt increase with the hard bags when you're riding off road, where you have to be putting a foot down sometimes to pop the bike back up or to steady it.
And sometimes it's just instinct. You go around a corner, you feel that ass end kick out, you stomp your leg down, and the bike's still going forward, and it's going to catch your leg and snap it.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's something I've never encountered. I see gravel and I turn around.
It can happen on a big bike too, but it's much less of a chance. Roland from Australia. Hey, Roland.
Hey, good to see you, Roland.
So I guess other than the stuff being up at the top, you feel like you packed what you needed, or do you think you overpacked and you brought stuff you didn't need?
I've used almost everything that I brought.
Excellent. So
Yeah.
most people will say, nope, I brought all kinds of stuff that I never needed, never should have brought.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those, I haven't camped in a while, so I haven't used the camping gear as much, but I've used the camping gear several times. So, and the camping gear, I mean, the only thing that I haven't really used yet is the cooking stuff, but that's I'll need it at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that's a whole different world.
Well, that just tells me that you're planning, and of course, all the riding you did before you left.
Yeah,
you
it
were able
wasn't
to
my
narrow
first
it
road
down.
trip.
That's
That
awesome.
makes a big difference because I have my camping gear pared down pretty good, and the only real thing I changed was the stove that I was carrying, because the stove that I got is a multi-fuel, so I can run it on plain gasoline or diesel or jet fuel or whatever I can get a hold of that burns.
I wish Pete Moto Adventures was still here because I'd like to ask him the same question. He's on his way back from going to Alaska, and I don't know if he had the experience that you had of traveling. I'm wondering what he brought with him that he's like, I never should have brought it.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be interested too, as if did he camp? Do you know? I haven't followed.
I know he brought camping gear. He was planning on it, but he's only been doing Instagram updates, so I really haven't seen much of any camping, along the way. He's still got to get all the way back from, I think he's near Banff right now, so he's got to come all the way back down to South Florida, mid Florida.
Yeah, that's a long ways. Even when I did Alaska, I was leaving from Portland. It's not like trying to leave from Florida.
Right.
Hey, there's a legend right there. I need to go watch your newest round of videos. I've been really bad about watching them, but
You've been a little busy.
Edu's in Brazil, and he just has been doing a ride into Uruguay and places. So he's a channel. If you want to see interesting places that are different from where you're at, that's a good channel to check out.
Okay, I'll have to do that. Edu Grigoletto, nice. Yeah, Code Gray. I think that's the way it is with a lot of people.
Yeah, I ride a Harley. The only survival gear we need is a credit card and a cell phone.
Right.
Yeah, I like camping, but I certainly don't like to camp every single day. If I camp a day or two, I like a hotel for sure.
Yeah,
I'm getting like that.
I'm getting ready to go, but I'm camping at a campground. But I'm getting ready to leave Wednesday morning, and I'll be gone until Monday morning, camping the whole time. And I just found out that it'll be pretty much in the rain the whole time.
Yep. The whole East Coast is about to get a deluge that lasts up to 2 weeks.
Yep. So, yeah.
It's not so bad if you have your tent up and it's going to be there a few days and it just keeps raining. That's one thing. It's the up and down in the tent, trying to take it and pack it up when it's soaking wet and all that is never fun.
Yeah, I'll only have to do that once. Hopefully it won't be raining when I set up, but once it's up, it stays up no matter what the weather does until I leave Monday morning.
And Paul, it depends on how much you use it. My camping gear has paid for itself many times over. My last tent, I think I slept in 200 nights. So you divide the cost of that tent by 200, that's a couple dollars, a night.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, even, I'm a cheapskate. All the stuff I have is like Walmart specials, but, I'm going camping for this long weekend, and I want to say I'm getting it for like $12 a night camping, whereas that $12 a night for 5 nights or 6 nights at a hotel would be a significant difference.
Yeah, but how's the laundry situation been for you?
For me?
Yeah,
I do a lot of laundry in sinks. Almost every night I'm washing socks and a shirt or something in a hotel sink.
Somebody has to ask a serious
I've got to figure out what to do with my motorcycle pants. They're getting pretty questionable at this point.
Do they stand up on their own?
They're motorcycle pants. They almost did to begin with, right? They use really thick fabric, but every once in a while I'll catch the smell of myself when I get in an elevator or something at the end of the day, and it's like, yeah, I got to do something.
It's like shower with your gear on.
Yeah.
Actually, that would end up making it worse. I remember that very distinct smell from my motorcycle pants. I just turned them inside out, went to a car wash, sprayed them down.
Oh, you didn't wear them through the car wash, like sitting on the bike?
No. You get that water inside, yeah, that's where the smell comes from.
Yeah. No, that was my plan, was take the pads out, turn them inside out, try to wash them somehow.
Yep. I just did that. I didn't turn mine inside out, but I just came back from getting seriously muddy on another ride around here. And I stopped at a car wash, and I didn't even take them off. I just stood there with the pressure washer, spraying all the mud off of them.
Another problem Harley riders don't have. Although I will say, yesterday I rode and I spilled coffee on myself. So it was almost a major calamity. I had to get the spray detailer and a microfiber cloth out when I got home to clean the bike off.
He's polishing the bike before he even gets back to the house.
Oh, I wish if I had spray detailer with me, I probably would have done it on the roadside
and filmed it.
Oh yeah. Oh dude, yesterday I went on this quick ride and I was like, I'm going to be on this one road. It'll take me 20 minutes to record the whole video. So I started all 3 cameras right there on the side of the road, did the clap method so I could sync them, and just recorded until I was done. And I only got like a half hour's worth of footage. But part of that would have been me spray detailing the bike.
Right.
As it was, the 360 camera caught me like trying to get the coffee off the bike.
And for the adventurous rider, my pants are Revit. My jacket's a Moscow Moto, but a lot of days when it's hot, I just wear the armor and a motocross jersey to try to get some more airflow.
Your saddlebags, are they also Moscow Moto?
Yep.
Yeah, that's what my buddy has on his Africa Twin. Boy, those things are awesome.
Yeah, they're super nice. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
They're definitely proud of them though too. So
yeah, they are. I got some old cheap Nelson rig waterproof, ugly looking things, but they do the job.
My theory on this was, when you're using them every day for a year plus, right? You don't try to save a few bucks,
right?
With whatever the best is.
Have you had any failures other than the stator? Have you had any equipment failures of any sort?
No.
Nice.
Oh, GoPro. Yeah. But funny enough, that GoPro now, the last couple of times I've used it has worked. So I don't know.
It didn't like the bike. Now you're on a different bike. It's like, oh, this is much better.
No, even the last few times that I used it on the DR, it was working fine. So I don't know. It was really hit and miss. I think the problem was, for some reason, I think that it would think the battery wasn't charged when it was, and so it would shut off.
I've had that happen numerous times.
But why it randomly started working again, I don't know.
Maybe you let it sit for a while.
Yep.
Yeah, I had I told John that I had an audio issue with mine when I was down in Florida. I let it get wet, and so the audio adapter that I have for the Hero 7 must have got wet, and I had no audio. I recorded a whole day and got back to the house, and there was nothing. And
no, Scott. Actually, the camera that was the most problematic didn't have the media mod on it. It was the one on my handlebar, which is probably where the most vibration is, though.
Mm-hmm. I bet. Yeah, I'm sure that would have something to do with it.
You would think that an action camera is designed to handle some vibrations like that.
It's all about what frequency it's happening at and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, and there's Caesar right there. Hey, Caesar, I saw you. I just now saw you in the comments.
Yeah, remember the old iPhone thing? You get a certain frequency on the bike, and it would start messing up the screen. I think the GoPros are probably very similar.
Yeah, and for anybody from the very beginning, when I talked about the friend that I had met that contacted everybody in the WhatsApp group, that's Caesar. So Caesar is an absolute legend.
Amen.
Well, Caesar, we all thank you. Gracias.
Yeah. Double thumbs up to Caesar. Hey, there's a GoPro question for you. Yes.
I've had that actually happen, yes.
Hero 8 especially.
Tomek knows that process. He has to check his camera every single time that it gets turned on to see if it's still recording.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
When
it happened to me,
Hero 11, right? Joey, you said Hero 11?
It would freeze and it would look like it was recording, but when you tried to turn it off, it wouldn't turn off.
That's what was happening to my Hero 7.
That's a problem I haven't had since the Hero 8.
Yeah. On my Hero 7, when that happened, the only thing that ended up working was taking the battery out.
Yeah. That's the typical GoPro fix. Take a battery out, wait 10 seconds, put it back in.
Yep.
Yeah,
hey,
see,
look,
Toby's got the same issue.
Toby's here.
He's been here.
Toby's been here for a while. He got here.
Hi, Toby.
Pick your eyes there, buddy.
I'm old. You're
retired.
I'm the ancient guy, remember? See this?
Dewey's got that, and he's not ancient.
Yeah, mine's not too far behind you, Patrick.
Yeah, but yours isn't quite as bright white.
Well, he's
maybe
done
after you take a bath, it'll be whiter, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm sorry you're feeling bad, but I'm glad the trip is going as well as it is, with the one exception.
Yeah, I mean, all things considered, we'll get it figured out. I just don't know, what if I have to go back to the U.S. if it's not miraculously found. What I buy will kind of determine some of the stuff on what I do and how fast I think I can cover stuff. One of the other options is potentially I ship the bike to somewhere along the way, a little bit farther south to make up for the lost time. I don't know. We'll have to see what options are available, and figure out what's going to be the best. Or, I was talking with one of the women here at the hotel who's been taking great care of me, and I said, I would happily come back to Mexico, and maybe that's what my trip is going to be. Is I'll just, spend a year touring all around Mexico or something instead of going, all the way. I don't know. There's plenty of adventure in doing that. There's nothing. I don't need to prove to anybody that I can ride farther than them if I'm having the experiences I want.
Right. Yeah.
Amen for that. Speaking
Exactly.
of women, is there future Mrs. Dewey in the picture?
No, there is not.
Oh.
It's really hard when you know 3 phrases in Spanish to pick up on women.
You got to learn 2 more. I only know the one in French.
Oh, hi, Tracy.
If you
I
did
appreciate
stay,
that.
Hey, there we go. Hi, Tracy.
if you did stay in Mexico, it sure looks like there's plenty to see and do from what you've done so far. It's just
And
amazing.
I've just scratched the surface. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff that I've missed along the way that I don't even know I missed.
Right.
So.
I mean, just a buddy of mine and I were talking about how some of the pictures you've shown where you were right on the coast and it's just incredibly gorgeous, and the mountains and the sea. If that was here, it'd be super developed right away and people would be trying to make $1 million off of it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, there's some real just little hidden gems too. Other than the bugs that bit me when it cooled down, I camped at a little surf place in a town called San Blas, and it's not a big town at all, and it's not really touristy, but there was a place to camp at the surfer spot. It's got to kind of hang out. They had, a little restaurant there, so there was food, and I set my tent up on the beach, and that kind of stuff wouldn't happen in the States.
No, it wouldn't. And a lot of the spots you showed, it almost looked like they had like cabana kind of things that you could put your tent under.
Yep. Yeah, several of them, almost all of them have something like that. If it's some kind of established camping system, they have something there for shade. I mean, you need it if you're going to spend a couple of days at the beach. You need shade.
Right.
So.
Man, that's just so cool, because it's almost like it's undeveloped, even though I know it's not a third world country or anything like that. But the fact that they haven't overdeveloped it and put up these condominiums and charging $1 million for people to go there, it's just so awesome.
Yeah, I mean, there's certainly those places. There's Puerto Vallarta, and although I really enjoyed Puerto Vallarta, but it's definitely a big city. It's built up. There's a lot of resorts.
Mm-hmm. But it's not the entire coast.
It's not the entire coast, right?
And
yeah, it's not like Southern California where it's just continuous from San Diego to north of LA, right?
Right. Yeah. And I think the East Coast is the same way.
Yeah. Over here, if you camp on the beach, you get flagged as a homeless person.
Yeah. Yep. Get
They
out.
escort you kindly away from the tourists.
Yep. And if you did stay in Mexico, you got another bike, you go back down there and you stay in Mexico, it seems like the road that you had some struggles on with the sand. If you were able to stay there and I'm going to stay in such and such a place for a few days, you can unload the bike completely and go maybe do that. And get with it.
Yeah. if I'm doing that, if I'm staying extended times, it's a lot easier to stop for a lot longer time, and
Right.
not feel like you need to move every so often because
Right.
there's zero timeline.
Yeah, if you're just going to stay where you are, there's no timeline. Whereas if you go all the way to the southern tip, you got to beat the weather, so you do have to keep moving.
Yeah, I mean, like anything, there's stuff to check into because I've used up already 60 days of visa, being in the country, and I don't know if there's a limit to how many days in a calendar year and things like that. So there's always stuff to check out.
Okay.
There's always bureaucracy and paperwork to do.
And the stuff we don't think about.
Yeah, because it's one of those. There may be, in any given 365 days, I may only be allowed in the country 180 of them. I don't know. There's things that I need to look at.
Right.
So, Dewey, in one of your earliest videos when you were leaving town, you said that you've been on these week-long trips or 2-week-long trips, and by the time you get into the zone of traveling, it's time to go back. And you figured it would take 2, 3, 4 weeks to realize, hey, I don't have to go back anytime soon. Did you hit that point? And was there like an aha moment where it's like, I'm a bona fide nomad?
This was a pretty easy transition, but just the way the timing worked out when the bike broke down, I went and spent time with my parents while I waited for parts and things like that in California. So everything kind of got broken up, and then Tomek showed up, and I traveled with Tomek for a little while, and now I'm on my own. So it's it's kind of there's been some differentiators of how the trip has gone and different things that broke up the continualness of it.
Yeah. Speaking of Tomek, there's a rumor floating around that he snores a lot. Is there any truth to that rumor?
There is, especially there was one night I remember he fell asleep in, I swear, 2 seconds. Like, we flipped the light off and I heard snoring.
He was tired.
Yeah, apparently. Those young kids. So the follow-up question is, big spoon or little spoon?
We do not roll like that, buddy.
Hey, Darren just came in. He said we need to start over. Okay, Dewey.
Live from Mexico. It's Monday night. No, that's how it started. Go back and watch it later, Darren. We'll be here.
Yeah, we covered a lot, so it's a lot to try to restart and go over.
I think
even the cliff notes is a lot.
I think we covered more ground in an hour and 12 minutes than Dewey has in the last 2 months.
That's probably true.
Ooh, burn. Paul gets it.
Mm-hmm.
You could cut the tension with a knife, some would say. Hey, I'm just here to be the moderator between these two, because in all reality, I messaged Dewey. Where's Dewey? Dewey's over here. I messaged Dewey a few days ago, and I was like, hey, you're stuck in one place. How's the Wi-Fi? We should do a live. And he's like, Patrick reached out to me an hour ago and said, let's go live. And I was like, oh. So I messaged Patrick, and I was like, dude, how dare you have the brilliant idea to have a live with Dewey an hour before I did? Because he's retired. He has a lot more time to think about these things. So, through that and the good luck of me being me, I get these two guys, these awesome guys, on my channel tonight, and I'm super pleased. I could not even be here.
Yeah. It actually, the live probably goes better when John's not here. It's just me and Patrick and chatting now.
Yeah. We do the interviewing thing, and we get some questions answered because I'm so curious. I'm kind of living vicariously through you, so I'm asking all these questions, probably too many.
No, there's no such thing as too many. And if you have the question, there's probably somebody in the side chat that has the same question.
That's kind of what I was hoping.
Have you shaved since you've been there?
I have not shaved since I've been here, since I left.
Okay.
I don't have any way to shave. It's getting long enough that I was getting to the point of in the next week or two, I was going to find out what a Mexican barbershop is like and how that shave goes.
Just don't ask for
all the stuff you packed. You didn't pack anything to shave with, knowing that your hair grows that fast.
Yes, because I break out really badly if I try to shave with a razor.
Okay.
So I always use like an electric beard trimmer and leave, kind of some stubble there.
Right.
And an electric beard trimmer just takes up a lot of space,
Yeah.
in the grand scheme of things.
Yep.
For something that I figured I could go to a barber shop and have somebody shave me.
Well,
Unless it uses a USB Type-C cable like the GoPros, and then you can recharge it that way.
It's not the recharging that's the problem. It's how much space does it take up?
It's a
It's
big
the
unit.
same size as a selfie stick.
And I
You've
can
already
barely
said
fit
you're
on
not
it.
recording anything.
But everything that you bring is more weight, more space, all of that. It's, I was willing to go with a year without shaving if I needed to. That's fine.
I was just going to say, I remember watching the first few videos, like your waterfall video, that I just thought was incredible, that whole series. And you had the beard like that, like John was just saying. And to me, that's the way you should look on the adventure you're doing now. That's kind of the look of what you expect to see a guy who's just traveling the world.
Yeah, if I wasn't going so gray, I'd be a whole lot more willing to do it.
What's wrong with gray? I'm offended.
Nothing. I just start looking a little Santa Clausy, not early 40s.
So I'm going to see you at Christmas.
Yeah, I was just going to say, you see this, so when I grow the full beard, oh yeah, it's all Santa.
Yeah.
Even me, that's a problem I'm starting to have. Ever since we had kids, the gray hairs started creeping in. And that's one of the reasons I shaved my beard, because it got long enough. It started looking really gray on camera. I was like, I can't have that yet. I'm too young for this. I
just accepted it. I'm like, yep, I've earned every one of these little grays.
No, Carly Simon wrote a song about me before I was born.
You're so vain.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. And part of that song was about me too, because he was hanging out with the wife of a postman.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
True. That's a great point. But you're not a postman anymore. You're retired.
Right. I am.
So now it's fair game.
Yeah, and I am self-employed now.
Yeah.
You're a professional YouTuber, Patrick.
yeah. That's a long way from professional YouTuber.
Well,
I'll take half of that, the YouTuber.
That's what I joked about with Dewey when he was leaving. I was like, you're unemployed now. You're now a professional YouTuber. You just don't get paid yet.
Yeah.
Right. Yep.
It costs me money.
Yeah, but Dewey, you've seen a big uptick in subscribers, haven't you?
Yeah, I did. I did early on. There hasn't been a lot of staying action. My views have gone slowly back down closer to where they were before with every video since the first I'm leaving one.
You just need to put out a lawnmower video. That's the running gag these days, is that stupid lawnmower video I put out got me so many views in the last couple of months. It's ridiculous. And like 100 subscribers.
100 subscribers is a full sixth of what I have in 5 years of this stuff.
Right.
I kid you not. It's currently sitting at 32,491 views and 99 subscribers and 1,800 watch hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's more than my channel's got in 5 years.
It boggles the mind. I have one video I recorded because I thought it was going to be a flash in the pan when it only had like 4,600 views, and the video is still worth watching. It should be out next week. But then when it finally dies down, I'm going to record another one and update, because I personally find it hilarious that something like this would sit and stew for 2 years and do nothing, and then all of a sudden just go half viral. It's just hilarious.
It's funny, man, the way it works.
Yeah, who knows,
See you, Code Gray. Just saw that.
Yeah, he's probably gone already, I would guess.
Yeah,
that's okay. He'll come back and watch the rest of it later. I know he will. Yeah, Paul makes a good point. Yeah, the price. The things you would do for free versus what you want money for.
Mm-hmm. And the things you buy to be better.
Yeah.
Hey, Ray Gregory Rides, what's up?
Hey, Ray.
Yeah, the things you would buy. Is there any equipment that you wish you would have brought with you?
No, there isn't. Not that other than maybe a beard trimmer, but I really am glad I didn't bring one.
How about a chase bike full of motovlog equipment?
Yeah, a chase truck would have been nice through the sand.
Right. Yep.
You know, it's funny. There's a guy local to me, rides a Pan America, and he went from Maryland to Canada late last year or fall last year, and he's putting out the videos from it. And he actually dumped his bike off camber, but he was like 8 feet from a signpost. So he hooked ratchet straps up to the signpost and pulled his bike closer, and it picked it up a little bit for him. So you just need to make sure that you dump your bike next to signposts.
I try to stay away from anything that could hurt me in the process. And yeah, Rick, it's getting grayer and grayer. I know.
You look 5 years older, but you look happier.
Yes, much happier.
Yeah. I mean, the most stressful part of my day is trying to decide what I want for breakfast and where I'm going to go.
Hey, I know that feeling.
I would love to have a witty retort here, but I don't.
Sorry, John.
Hey, you know what? Father's Day has been an entire weekend, and happy Father's Day to all the dads out there, myself included. My wife has kids, and it turned out to be a whole weekend because hell, I slept in till 11 today, or 10:30, something like that, and Saturday I was in bed till 10, and yesterday was 9 o'clock. Yesterday was the early day.
Yeah, my Father's Day was okay. I got to go for a ride, so that was fun.
Yeah.
And I didn't have to pick up the Goldwing yesterday.
Oh, good. I saw you drop it on that one video. You wonder why I don't do slow speed stuff.
But you're never going to find out how slow you can go until you drop it.
That's it. I've dropped the Goldwing once, and I've dropped the V-Strom way too many times to count.
No, John, I saw your video today, man. You need to work on those low speed skills.
I'm trying to think, what video did I put out today? Oh, yeah. Where I come up to the stop sign and I have to go one way or the other.
Yeah. And you ran wide and there's a car coming. And
yeah, that's like every video.
And you still could have actually leaned the bike over. It was like you were pointing the wheel and trying to keep the bike upright.
You know what? Now I have to go back and rewatch my own video.
Yeah, you need Motoramblings practice in the parking lot, man.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Hey, I recorded a good one the other day with the 360 camera hanging off the side on the left. And normally I hang it off the right and I ride to the left. So I had to consciously ride to the right. And I was looking at the footage last night, and 3/4 of it, that camera's in the other lane. I got so lucky it didn't get hit by a car.
Yeah. I have a camera on the mirror on the Goldwing, but it's not pointed quite straight. It's actually pointed to the left. It's on the left-hand side. So when I run footage from that camera, it looks like I'm over the yellow line all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, no, mine actually was. It was a 360 cam, so I could just position it straight ahead, and the yellow line is either direct center of frame or it's over here. I mean, it was over by like 3 feet at one point.
Yeah.
Good times.
Oh, yeah, it sounds it.
Do the stupid stuff so other people learn from it and don't make the same mistakes.
Yeah. Although that may be the one thing I leave if I go back to the States, is I haven't yet used the 360 cam on the entire trip.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
How
you'd
much
be
have you
better
used
off
the
with a
drone?
beard trimmer.
What?
How much have you used the drone?
Well, once, because with the bunch of ones we did, we used Tomex because he got it out faster than I had. I did. Yeah.
He
I used
practices
it
a
once
bit more.
on the Devil's Backbone out of Durango and Tamazatlan, which is an amazing ride. So that will be a really cool video to watch. It'll be kind of the Dewey rides that you're used to. That's going to be music and lots of corners.
Nice. I'm looking forward to it.
I am not. I will mute it and put it on fast forward.
That's why I can't catch a break, man. My watch time from you in the fast forward.
Yeah, I'm a solid like 17% of your viewership at this point, right?
Oh, I don't know. I can't see by individuals. So
I'm kidding. I watch all of every Dewey video, mostly because I want to steal whatever music tracks he's using.
You like to steal my music tracks.
I did. I watched I think 2 videos ago you used a track called Invincible, and literally I watched your video, and that night I used it in one of my own. I was like, hey, this fits. I'm gonna use it.
That one I've been using for a long time though. That's not a new song for me, so I'm surprised you haven't heard it.
You probably haven't used it in a while.
That could be it. It might not have been recently that I used it.
You're not like me where I use the same section of the same track as the intro every time.
Yeah, I tried that, but I tried mixing it up too. I have a couple signature songs that I use a lot.
That you do. And I'm not using those. They're too played out.
Yep.
Yeah, this guy's nuts. Paul's MotoZen. It's crazy how many videos he watches.
And how long he's been doing it.
Yeah.
Before he was Paul's MotoZen, he was, I think, 2 channel names back. He's been doing this.
Yes. Huge shout out to Paul's MotoZen here.
Yeah, he's been a supporter, watcher, commenter on our videos forever now.
Yep. And he's putting out his own videos, so go watch those.
Yep, exactly. Go watch, subscribe, like, the whole bit.
Watch this guy. Don't watch that guy. Definitely don't watch this guy, but watch that guy.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's it. I'm looking for the unsubscribe on the Road Reality channel.
Oh, thank God. I was getting too many subscribers. It's kind of driving me nuts, you know? It's like, ooh, all these people I have to keep. Oh, my God. I've gotten 4 subscribers since we started this live. Who are these people?
And see, this was supposed to be my live. I was supposed to get those 4 subscribers.
Yeah, look what you did to poor Patrick.
Hey, Patrick, I swear you'll get the next one, okay?
I don't know.
Yeah,
the first thing I hear from Road Reality is, hey, I was going to do a live with Dewey. You're a dick because you're going to do it first.
Like I said, I was like, how dare you have the bright idea an hour before I had the bright idea? I gave you credit for having the bright idea.
Well, there you go.
Let's look at it the Dewey Rides way, and we'll say, because Dewey and you were on my channel, which is slightly bigger, first, maybe some of those people will filter over to you, and then when you have your live with him next week, you know, after he's back in the States and the trip is over, then maybe you'll get the subscribers then. I don't know.
None of that fatalist talk there, John. Your trip is
right.
not over.
Yeah, no trip is over. Nope.
No, it has only just begun.
Yeah.
When Dewey first told me that his bike was snatched out of the lot there, I said, look, I would be recording 23 hours a day from all the cameras, and just storage be damned. I'd record every reaction and have all the footage to cull through later on, just because it's like you can't recreate this stuff.
Yeah, it's too much. It's too. I wouldn't want to. I'd spend too much of my time trying to deal with all of that.
I told you I'd go through some of it.
The problem is getting it to you.
You just need Wi-Fi connection.
Footage.
UPS overnight.
Now, like I said, I'm doing the trip first and filming it second, and whatever comes of it comes of it. I'm not gonna put that much more thought into it than that.
Well, you and I talked about this at one point before, and I'm kind of curious. I think you actually hinted that you may have started to write down some things. You and I talked about doing a journal.
I'm keeping kind of an online. I try to write a little paragraph or 2 about each day, so I have a better remembering. There's a lot of stuff that I'm going to forget at some point. Having it put down just little things like who I interacted with, the person I met, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like
so I have a question then. Why wouldn't you just record that on your phone and post it?
Because I don't think that's very interesting to just hear a 30-second daily recap. I guess for me, it's not interesting.
Yeah, but you could leave it unlisted and then use that footage later as B-roll and spark a voiceover.
Yeah. It's one of those, this is something I'm doing for me so that I can remember. It's got lots of people's names and things like that in it, so I can remember
Right.
people that I met. And I don't really like to go out and dox people and tell their stories when it's between me and them.
Fair enough. I don't know. I'm just noodling ways that you can get different ideas going, different videos flow with the voiceover and some riding footage, and not like today we traveled through Durango, but kind of like, I rode this, whatever, autistic thing. I don't know, whatever the fancy filmmaking techniques are.
I mean, that stuff's on video, right? This is, like I said, it's the stuff that I'm writing down is I met so and so. I had this funny interaction at the store where I was trying to buy something, that I wouldn't think about, but it'll be memorable to me at some point. It'll spark that memory.
And that's exactly what I was just going to say is if you write it down, you don't have to write every detail. But if you write down the highlight, hey, I stopped at this store, I had this funny interaction with this dude. Well, when you go back and you read that in 2 years, all of the memories from that, everything that went into it, come flooding back.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that you wouldn't get that if you recorded it on your phone as if you were doing like a diary kind of thing on your phone.
Yeah.
You're not going to watch it.
Yeah, I'm not going to watch it. I'm not going to. And it's not, like I said, it's real easy to just jot down some short stuff about what the day was, where I went, what I did, and an interaction or two. And almost every single place I've gone, there's somebody memorable that I meet during the day.
Mm-hmm.
So I always try to write that down and kind of have a person with a place to kind of remember it by.
And as the adventurous rider, I never thought of it either. But my buddy Roger did that. And we had gone on some trips years ago. Just when we first started riding together, we decided we were going to try to do a trip or two. And he's got this notebook that I didn't even know he was writing in. And, I'll be over his house working on the tire or something. He'll go, hey, and he'll just open it up to a random page and he'll read like 2 sentences. And I'll remember everything about that moment. And he will too. And we'll laugh about it and we'll remember it. Whereas I never would have thought of it again if he hadn't written it down and brought it up.
Yep. Yeah. And it's nice, I don't have a book or anything. I just jot it down on my phone. I just type up a quick thing real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to do it every night.
I just picture Matt Damon from The Martian, and he's got his daily, 1 minute synopsis of the
Sol,
day.
His SOL.
Yes. Sol 361.
Yeah.
I used my own excrement to make potatoes. Rick Vanderlei, he wants to go back to when we talked about dating. Now, I was on the serious end of it, but on the lighter end, have you brought anybody back to the room yet?
No, it's the combination of Catholicism and my lack of Spanish skills. That's a whole minefield that I don't want to. I don't know that I'm ready to dive into. I'm busy having a trip,
I was just going to say, this goes right back to what you were saying before. This is a trip. This is your trip, and you're going to do your trip. You don't want something like this to mess it up.
Yeah, he's afraid of waking up with a hacienda with new in-laws.
I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about waking up without a liver.
Right.
No. It's a kidney. They take kidneys these days.
Well, I think that probably about it. You look like you need to get some sleep.
Yeah, I'm tired.
Yeah, he looks tired. Is that your entire list of questions, Patrick? Because I know you had a whole list.
I think between us, we covered most of what I wanted to ask him and talk about. And I think he covered a lot of it on his own without even being asked.
Yeah, it kind of took all the wind out of my sails. Every time I think up a question, Dewey would answer it. And I go, well, I guess I'll just be quiet for a minute. You know how hard that is for me.
Is that what it takes to make you quiet?
Pretty much.
Just answer the question before he asks it. He'll be quiet. You learned something.
Yep. And luckily we've recorded this, so I can go watch it later and remember what was happening.
Yeah. Get all your watch hours that way too, if you watch it yourself.
No, they take those away from you.
Do they?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't watch your own stuff on your own computers and get watch hours.
Yeah, if you notice, you'll see that you get a tick mark when you watch one of your own videos, and then after like 12 hours or a day, it drops off. They figured out it was you watching.
I've never pulled up. I've never paid that close attention.
Me neither.
Oh, so it's just me then.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, that's all the time we had for Road Reality.
He did it again.
Yep.
I got to keep things interesting. We're going to put Dewey up here. I like Dewey over there. Well, but that does, I think, wrap it up. Any quick questions in the side chat before we close this one out?
While you're waiting for that, I do want to ask Dewey, when do you want to try to do something like this again? I know that you can't really plan things, but you want to wait a couple of weeks. You want to wait till you know what your plan is.
I think it's going to be probably close to a month to figure out all the paperwork involved, because a bunch of the countries along the way, I do need a title. When I talked to Oregon, they told me I can get registration and plate the same day at a DMV office, but the title could be 4 to 5 weeks to show up.
Oh, that's brutal.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And our buddy down there, he asked a question about buying in Mexico. We answered that one earlier, but I think the quick answer is that it's best if it's registered in your home state.
Yeah, the hard part with buying down here is there's a lot of paperwork. You need to have a Mexican address, and I do not. And it's just going to be easier. I think it's just going to be easier to do the paperwork in a way that I know how to do it.
In English.
Than to try to figure it out with the language barrier and hope that, the paperwork I did here on a motorcycle isn't going to be a problem 7 countries away when then it's hard for me to come back and fix it too. If it's an issue with American paperwork, I know how to handle that. I know how to contact the right people. I know what I need to do, no matter what.
And there you have it.
And Rick had a good comment. He said that, get home first before you actually make new plans.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of the plan's going to be figuring out what my realistic timeline is, what I can and can't do, and also how much, what kind of deal I get on a motorcycle and how much money it costs me in that process.
All right. Question then. What parts of this country haven't you seen?
Some of the Southwest. I've never been to the Grand Canyon other than and then kind of the middle section that nobody wants to go to, right? The Nebraska, Kansas.
Yeah, Iowa.
Yeah. But that doesn't mean that I wouldn't ride, if that's what the trip is going to be, I would go tour the US. There's ways to do it and stay with the weather, go to the north in the summer and the south in the winter, and that's not off the table.
Well, that was going to be my next thought, is that if you end up having to do that and you have to ship all your stuff home, fly it home, whatever it is, and get the bike here, and then you decide that, okay, the Mexico thing, I'm going to hold off and try it again at another point. Maybe you could do this country, and between all of us moto vloggers that follow you and are spread out across the country, make it a trip that's worth doing. Yeah,
no, that's definitely it's not off the table. And like I said, I think what I'm going to have to do is, once I get a bike, then I can figure out what my timelines are and what options I really have.
Mm-hmm.
See, and there they answered 2 more questions I had, so I didn't have to say anything.
Yep. Yeah. Interviewing.
Yeah. I'm not good at it.
And Rick, I think that your dog likes hanging out with any person who will pay it attention, not just me.
Yeah.
But I like Clara. Clara's awesome.
Yep, we have to see Clara some more.
Yep.
What a happy face. Wait a
That
minute.
is a
I see some family resemblance between Dewey and Clara. See that?
yeah, perfect.
The tongue hangs out.
Yeah. Dewey's just got the white on the bottom instead of the top.
Yeah.
Ooh, rough crowd tonight. And that's all the time we have for Motoramblings. That's an old Jimmy Kimmel joke.
Adventures Rider, no, I haven't. I'm not the backpacking type. I would rather be in control of where I'm going.
Well, if you're backpacking, don't you have that control?
Well, you do, but you're doing a lot of buses and other things like that to cover ground. So that
The whole idea of walking instead of using a powered vehicle is just I'm lazy.
no.
And for that reason, I'm out.
I mean, I've met some people along this trip that are doing things on pedal bikes and all sorts of stuff, and it's just
Yeah, I
that
can't
is
even
not
imagine.
me.
No, not me either. No. But I figure this country, you've got like the Trans-America Trail, which I'm sure you haven't done the whole Trans-America Trail.
No, I don't know that I want to do the Trans-America Trail. That's a lot. That's a tough challenge to take on.
Okay. And then, of course, all the BDRs spread across the country. It just seems like those are the kind of things that you might really enjoy doing.
Yeah, no, there's definitely stuff, but I don't need to. I've got a lot of years of riding left in me. It's not like I need to. It's not like this is the last trip, right? There's always more to go see. So.
Don't accelerate it.
Right. Yeah. But and that was kind of why I was thinking that if the timing works out and it kind of messes your ability to go down to the southern tip or even cross into other countries because of paperwork issues, that maybe you could do something here and then go back to work save up the money and start the Mexico trip all over again because you are younger. You do have.
Yeah, there's lots of options, and I will weigh them out and probably talk to a bunch of people and kind of decide what we all think is going to be best for me and what I want to do, and see what comes of it.
I like that plan. Yes.
Yeah.
And whatever you do, don't come near Washington, D.C.
Why would he want to? Oh, sorry.
Up top.
Yeah.
Yeah, DC is probably just as common for bike thefts as it's down here. So.
Especially if you ride a dirt bike. They get stolen every week here.
Yeah, it was funny. My wife and I were talking about, what happened with you and the bike, and my son walked in and he's like, could have happened right here in Asheville. Could have happened anywhere.
Yeah.
People are just, you got the great people that you've spent so much time with, and then you got those few people that just suck.
Yep. Yeah, no, there are. And, like I said, at the end of the day, I came across one bad person and hundreds of amazing people.
Yep.
Those are pretty good odds, no matter how.
Those are awesome odds. And your pictures and the videos and stuff that you've already done show just how great people really are, even in a place where the communication barriers, somewhat of a problem. You just look like you're having a ball, and it looks like some incredibly beautiful places.
I am, and no, it's amazing. And, everybody that I've talked to that has actually done this trip has said the one thing they regretted was they went through Mexico too fast. So,
You're not going too fast, that's for sure.
I mean, there's still stuff I missed. I'll make a video. I am going to make a video about what happened. When I only have so much footage. There was a lot of stuff that I was in the heat of the moment trying to deal with stuff, and I didn't record. But as for the purchasing and the contributions, the truth is that as much as I appreciate the thought, a big part of me doing this trip was that I was able to fund it myself, and the discipline and the process of going through that was a growing experience for me. And I have the money to keep doing this. buy another one. It might change some things about it, but I have a really hard time asking anybody to contribute money for me to go basically have an extended vacation in a lot of ways.
I don't
As
think
much
you're
as people
asking.
get out, I know that people get a lot out of it getting to see it, but I'm happy to share that part of it for free.
I don't think
And
you're
that's
asking
the part
people
of
for money. They're volunteering.
Yeah. And I think that's the part of it that makes someone like me be willing to help out where I can, because I do enjoy it so much. It does have a lot of value to me to watch you do this.
Yeah, but don't send it via USPS because
Right.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, this isn't the end of the trip, no matter what. It's just what the trip is might change a little bit, and that doesn't make it any less adventurous. That doesn't make it any different. I just got to figure out this next problem and how to get on.
Well, you can come here and see this.
Yeah, no, I would love to. That was always, one of the options if I got to South America. Coming back, shipping the bike to Miami or something like that instead of riding back and then coming up the East Coast to see people. So
I remember you mentioning that. Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely, it's something that I would like to. I have so many, it's like everything in the motorcycle community, with the people that I've met on YouTube and doing this, I've met so many incredible people that I would love to go get to spend time with them. Just when that time will be, it'll happen. I just don't know when.
And I want to know how Patrick gets great Wi-Fi out there. Doesn't look like there's a repeater or anything near you.
Yeah, it's pretty wide open, isn't it?
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. Some would almost think deep fake on that.
Well, and the fact that it's still bright and sunny, that's
Hasn't gotten dark there yet.
Yeah, it's 9:45. It's still beautiful out.
Well, guys, it is 9:45. I want to send out a heartfelt thanks to both of you for coming on tonight. I appreciate it more than you know. And Dewey, all of our best wishes and positive vibes are headed your way. When he told me what happened, I asked what I could do. He said, send positive vibes or send good vibes. So I Googled good vibes and a YouTube video came up. So I sent him a link to that. I'm an ass and everybody knows it.
Yeah.
And we have one last question, then we're going to close it out. Rick,
I have not, because I don't think there's much for the embassy to do. When I went to the public minister, they said maybe we should get the U.S. Embassy involved to get a translator. That was it. I don't think there's much the U.S. Embassy is going to do about a stolen motorcycle. Quite honestly, they have a lot bigger problems. The only way the U.S. Embassy will get involved is if, when I try to leave the country, if there's a problem with the paperwork and them not wanting me to leaving without the motorcycle, then I might have to get them involved.
It's Mexico to the U.S. Just go under one of the tunnels that you always see on TV.
No, the problem is that then if I ever try to come back, they have it flagged that I brought a bike in and didn't exit with it, and they won't let me bring another one in.
That would be a problem.
Yeah, no, the paperwork is tied to my passport that I brought a bike into the country and that I need to leave with it. So that's where, I think I have all the paperwork that I need, but we'll find out when I actually go to leave.
And so hopefully you've got the paperwork that says, okay, here's why I'm coming back without my bike, because somebody stole it. And then when you try to go back in, they're going to be able to say, okay, well, we know why you're coming back in with another bike, because this other one was stolen.
Right.
Yeah, he's got a picture of him going like, there's no bike here.
As long as I get everything closed out, I think I'll be fine. It's until I go to close out the import permit, then I don't know. Yeah, it's great to see you too, Tracy. If I'm back in Portland soon, you and Mike are, other than my parents and my sister, are first on the list of people to go see.
Look at this comment. That's a good point.
I don't know about that. I think that might even be bigger fish to fry than that down here. Yeah.
Tell them there's 10 kilos on it.
Mm.
But I do not want to get involved in anything that like that.
It's like you don't joke about a bomb on an airplane. You don't joke about drugs on a bike. Yeah.
Nope. Yeah.
No, we joke about it here when we're in the U.S., but when
Right.
you're down there in the middle of it, yeah, no joking.
Right. All right. Well, John, hopefully next time you're feeling better.
Yeah,
And-
yeah. Well, I mean, I'm
I'm
sure.
feeling fine. Thanks for asking.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, in a day or
Different
two,
John.
I'll be over it. You know, drink a lot of water, flush things out. I've got some, take some pills.
Get your electrolytes.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you managed to hang in there without having to exit one time, so
I
I
know
think maybe we should let you go.
the pills are working.
All right. Well, thank you, John, at Road Reality for having this and doing this, and thank you, Dewey, for spending all this time with us. There's Wayne.
There's Jarvis. At the very end, I feel bad.
Yep. Actually, I think I'll be seeing Wayne Wednesday or Thursday. He's going to be down there at Owen.
Yes, he's going to go down. Yeah, I guess it's not very far from them to get down there, is it?
You know, it's not. I don't know which way they would come to do it, but yeah, as the crow flies, it's not very far at all for them. But yeah, for me, it's like 350, 360 miles or something like that.
And that's not too bad, though.
Nah.
That's like twice the max I've ever done in a day.
I actually went and put a route together tonight before I get on here. I'm going to take some back roads up, of course, and make it a little bit longer. But the whole point of going there is doing the Ohio Windy 9, and one of those 9 roads comes south. So I'm going to hit that on the way up, and that way get one of them knocked out before I even get there.
There you go. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing the videos. I saw somebody else's video on the Windy 9s. May have been Mike Haley 7. I don't know.
Yeah, probably. He did one with Moose.
Yeah, and it looked like some good riding.
Paul, I want to meet you too. And Wayne, I will meet you because I think you're staying at the same campground I am over there for the Ohio Windy 9.
And you're going to VAM too, right, Patrick?
I haven't made any reservations yet, but I'm planning on it, yes.
Yeah, but you camp, so it's not a big deal. You just gotta find a roadside spot and pitch your tent.
I prefer a campground because, you know, as we've discussed before, I have issues.
Or just put all your stuff and go find Windroad Therapy.
Right.
Sleep in the RV.
Yeah. I put my tent in her driveway at the last VAM I was at because where I was flooded out. We had such incredible rain. The campground host came by and said, "You can't stay here." I'm like, "Well, where do you want me to go?"
Yeah, right. Yeah, well, I'm planning to be there this year, so let's hope the weather holds out because I ride a Harley. They're not allowed to get wet.
Yeah, and part of the reason why I decided, okay, this year I think I might go is because you said you were going to go there.
Yep. So when I don't show up, it'll be a huge travesty.
Yeah.
Now, I think my wife's kicking me out of the house for that 5 days.
Okay. I see Jarvis is staying at a hotel, so I won't meet him at the campground, but I'll meet him at the Windy 9. They got a bunch of things planned.
And we have now used up the 27-minute Maryland goodbye. So any parting words, gentlemen?
Good luck, Dewey.
Thank you. And, thanks for all the support and all the well wishes. I know there's a lot of people in the side chat who sent me a message just to see how I was doing and what was going on. And I appreciate every one of those so much. It's always, in the midst of everything, it's nice to know that other people are worried about you and care.
And I am not in the side. Well, I am in the side chat, but I'm not in that group of people that was doing all the nice stuff. So just to be clear here.
No, you do, man. You check in on me, every other day or whatever. So,
Well, yeah, I want you to watch my videos. The only way to get you to watch my crap.
Yeah.
But no, seriously, Dewey, if there's anything we can do to help, let us know. We are here.
Yes.
I appreciate it. Like I said,
And
thanks
don't
everybody
be
for
afraid
all the
to
well wishes,
ask.
everything. I really do appreciate it.
Yeah, and Patrick said, don't be afraid to ask. You're allowed to stop and ask for directions, even if you're a dude.
I'm a mailman. Remember, I know directions.
Is that why my mail only shows up every other day? Give me a break, Patrick.
Yeah.
All right, guys. With that, we're going to say goodbye. But I want to say, go subscribe to Dewey Rides' channel because he's doing some awesome things down in Mexico. And subscribe to, where is he? Patrick, Motoramblings here. He's following the Road Reality School of Motovlogging. So he's doing better too. I got to get one good barb in.
Yep.
Hey, guys, thank you so much. And Dewey, take care. Reach out if you need it. Everybody in the side chat, thank you for coming along with us tonight and learning all about the foibles of riding in Mexico, the one foible, and all the positive things. So let's try to stay positive, and everybody have a great week. Goodbye.
See ya.